Hi Jen. Happy birthday. Alright, I've got a little list here. I'm just going to use a normal guitar and only play on four strings, so that'll suffice, I think. And I really only use the shapes I'm using are only there's about four or five shapes. Like that's the F shape there. And most of the time I won't play the first string at all. Just because it's not really needed, and it's sort of easier. You can play it, but you don't have to. So that sort of a G there on the third fret, which is like an F shape. If I take that back to the D shape, back to G, and for C, most of the time I'll just flatten out on the fifth fret there, and just play the three notes. So your fourth, third, and second string, and don't even worry about the first. And I'll often mute the first string with the inside of my first finger when I'm playing the G, and that the way I play that bar chord there, it just sort of rests on top of the string and mutes it. Another thing that's useful that I sometimes do is just, instead of like that's a 1-4-5 progression, I think. Instead of playing a C chord, I might just put my little finger in. I've got the G chord. Just add my little finger in on the fifth fret of the third string, and you get a suspended fourth chord. So it'd be G sus4, and that substitutes for a C chord. I'll show you how that works through this. And if I take that up 2 frets, I get a D chord. So it's a D chord with that suspended note that rings on that just sounds cool. And you can use that anytime the G sus there, A sus for a D. Is set in C, G, and that's an A sus4 or a D with an E in it. The other way, yeah. So, and the other D I'd use is that one, or the D7. So if I'm on a G, I just change those two fingers around. You might know all these chords, but just for clarity, I'm just going to go through it all. All right. Now the thing you're mainly interested in is the muting and getting maybe a mandolin chucking type of sound going, which is a good idea. The easiest, the muting is both hands, so it might be right hand with the inside of the palm there, just resting on the string. So, and I'll mute. I'll just play on the 4 strings, and I'll mute the bass strings with the palm of this hand. And it's not a conscious thing where I don't think, oh, I've got to mute. It just sort of rests on the strings and deadens them in between the strumming. So if I strum open, there's no muting there. So you get, all of a sudden you get a bit of a chunking sound. And the other thing I'm doing there is muting with my left hand and just lifting the pressure off the strings so they're just touching and killing the sound. So they're both important. There's not a lot. I'm not noticing a lot of palm muting when I'm doing swing styles or bluegrass styles on 4 strings. Most of the muting is coming from the left hand cutting off the strings. You could use, the thing this is going to bring in is I'm using closed chords, so every string held down. I could use open, so if I hold just a G with 2 fingers there, cut off those 2 strings I'm not holding down, I'm muting with the palm here. My heart is sad in C, and lonely for the only one I love. When shall I see? And I'll show you that strumming style too. You can do it with the open chords too. It's easier with the closed ones because you can cut off the strings. Alright. So the basic muting strums. So that's more like a swing sort of feel. My heart is sad and I'm in sorrow for the only one I love. So that's I could play either the D there. It's sort of a D with an F sharp, or even if you could call it a first inversion, because I've got the F sharp in the bottom rather than the D, or the D7, which is just going, just playing 3 strings again, going from the G and turning 2 fingers around to get the D7. Alright, so for swing, there's a long note and the short note, of course, so that first note rings out, and then I lift the pressure off with my left hand, and this hand sort of, I want it to flow, so it goes in a loop, sort of going around a circle like that, just to keep some sort of constant movement, so it's not jerky. When we get into a bluegrass rhythm, not being so swingy, being more straight, so if I did Bury Beneath the Willow, you know how a bad band to do it, like do it really fast and as though it's a comedy song or something, but just for the sake of using the same progression. Heart is sad and so I'm not stretching out the first note as long, I'm cutting it off to take the swing out of it. And the movement with my right hand is just the same. It's a sort of a constant round flowing movement, and that just takes practice of trying to create the sound you want. So hold the strings down, cut them off. And what I'm hitting with this hand could be all the 3 notes or just the first one, or so there I'm just sort of hitting the 4th string and cutting off the rest. Now a more complete idea of this sort of style is to strum constantly down up, so down up down up, so my right hand now just going down up down up. Now if I hold the G chord down, and the other thing I meant to mention is it's not some. I'm not thinking about strumming. I'm thinking about percussive sound, like going straight through the strings. So for the early part of that, I was not doing any vamping, and then I started into doing that, so lifting off the pressure. Yes, and so. And sorrow. Uh, like once you get used to going down up constantly, down up down up down up down up down up down up down up, you make the rhythm go to the song. So if I'm thinking "Buried Beneath the Willow," heart sad and I'm in sorrow for the only one I love. So it's a boom chicka boom chicka boom chicka boom. So one style for that sort of thing. If for Buried Beneath the Willow, if I did it more swingy. So I'm in sorrow for Now a good exercise is to just get that going. So I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm accenting the 1. Now I could accent the 2. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So put them in a loop, and it's a good exercise just to practice all the time. And once you don't over accent, don't just keep your hand going nice and even. Even there I might be overemphasizing. It's just, it can be a subtle accent, or you can really dig into sometimes, but most of the time the main thing is that you don't get out of time when you're just going down up, so that's got to be nice and even, but the accent just jumps out, and sometimes it's really subtle. Vice intro or something, or would so we just work around a G minor. So I'm just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And that's what's so cool about this, because I just have to move, one finger around, or accent a beat and let it ring out, and it jumps out. Yeah, I'm getting a bit too creative there, but you can see how much fun that can be. So that's the secret of sitting there doing that and tapping your foot on the 1. And you'll learn, everything will make more sense. And then when you try and work out the Bela Fleck drive, what's it called, Natchez trace or whatever, you can find those notes easily. there I did all the ups. I kept doing ups on the accent. So my hand's still going down, up, but I'm accenting the ups, up. I'll accent the downs. I didn't do that right there. So that's the secret of it all, and so the cutting off with the left hand. You can sort of hear it's probably not a good example of beneath the willow for putting percussive drum beats in, but if you're in the middle of backing up a fiddle tune or something and you're not sure where it's going, so it still provides really good rhythm, and it sounds funky, and it's deceptively easy to do and hard to do in a fashion because your rhythm's got to be rock solid. That's why you practice that exercise I showed you. If I'm thinking about Cripple Creek, I might be thinking, you know, the tune in my head, go down Cripple Creek, go down. See, just by keeping a constant rhythm going and then thinking about the tune, it starts to sound like I'm playing the tune out of the chord shape because I'm matching the rhythm to the melody, sort of what the melody's doing. But then also having a boom chick, boom chick, boom chick, boom chick. So it's getting a bit more funky. I'm going to see how I can change the pattern all the time. Like, all of a sudden I'm doing you know, so, and the more you do this, the more you start hearing different rhythms in behind it. One other thing. The only other shape was that new G minor. So out of that, you've got the G major or the minor just by changing that one finger. which you probably know that because you're playing all those different swing songs and things. But a way of using just these basic shapes closed, say for Stay All Night in G. Oh, we've got a G. Oh, alright, so G up to the 7th fret with a D shape, and it's a G with a B in the bass. Go up to a C, so just an F shape on the 8th fret, then move up 1 fret and play the D shape again. It sort of substitutes for a diminished chord, and then I go up to like a D shape, which sort of subs for a G with a 3rd in the bass. Sorry, a G 3rd inversion. So we've got G here, the second chord's a G 2nd inversion, and this, oh, doesn't sound right. Oh, okay. It'd be like that F chord with the little finger end. Anyhow, you can find all these chords. What I'm trying to explain here is that you can just use those shapes to move around between chords. They're not actually the right chords or the wrong chords, because there's really no such thing. But I can play a Texas sort of progression for Stay All Night with just 3 shapes. Oh, to see my blue-eyed soul while she lives way down in Shinbone Alley. I can play a D7 there or a D. G again. Number on the gate, number on the door, well, and down to D. Next house over is the grocery store. Stay all night, stay a little. D, G, 1st inversion, C, substitute C sharp diminished, D, G with a B in the bass, A, D. D, G. Anyhow, that's just something to think about. That will keep you very busy for a little while. Let me know how you go with it.